on Newshour versus tonight is Mahesh Jethmalani, senior advocate in the Supreme Court, and Dushyant Dave, senior advocate also in the Supreme Court. And the visuals of Chief Justice of India, Mr. D.Y. Chandrachud, celebrating Ganesh Chaturthi, and the Prime Minister with him by his side has created quite a storm. Dushyant Dave, my first question goes to you. In all likelihood, this was an invitation to the Chief Justice's residence. It's the occasion of Ganesh Chaturthi. But what's the twist all about? The entire legal circles are up in arms, almost as if the heavens have fallen.
Well, heavens certainly have fallen. And I can tell you, I feel like burying my head in sand like an ostrich. I mean, this is unfathomable. It is unbelievable. It has never happened in the history of India's judiciary. One of the most important aspects of judge's life is aloofness. I am sure Prime Minister is not a personal friend of Chief Justice Chandrachud. And therefore, for him to invite him, I have nothing about Mr. Chief Justice having his religious, fervor. Every one of us has. Nothing wrong about it. But to invite the Prime Minister on an occasion like this, then to have photographers and videographers and allow that image to be splashed across the country on every newspaper is something which is really shocking. It is unacceptable. It is a judicial misconduct on the part of the Chief Justice, and I will tell you later why it is so. And it really has sent, I would say, shockwaves into the minds of right-thinking, lawyers, and I'm sure judges across the country, and more so in the minds of the people who must be wondering what is this camaraderie about.
Well, Dushyant Dave, before I get in Mahesh Jethmalani, I just have two questions on facts arising from what you first said. You said this is unprecedented. It's never happened before. Can I please correct that? Because K.G. Balakrishnan, the then Chief Justice of India, went for an iftar party to the then Prime Minister, Dr. Manmohan Singh's residence. Now, an iftar party is all right, but a puja is not all right. Is that what you are saying? And number two, would you rather not have known about this meeting? Ho jati, theek hai, but why were the cameras there and why are the visuals splashed all across social media, newspapers and television channels? Is that your objection?
Neither of them are right. Chief Justice having attended an iftar party was equally wrong. But in any case, it was at Prime Minister's house and it was a public function where I'm sure there were hundreds of people. At Chief Justice Chandrachud's house, it was only him, his wife, and the Honorable Prime Minister. So that's a distinction. I am not for a moment saying that he can attend iftar and he can't attend Ganesh Puja. I am as much religious as Chandrachud is. But there are some things which you don't do as a judge. I can do it as a lawyer. Secondly, I'm not saying that he's, merely photographing is bad. I'm saying his invitation to Prime Minister is wrong. Prime Minister going there is equally wrong. And also, for both of them to have deliberately allowed photographs to be, splashed, what is the message that they are giving? The Chief Justice is giving a message that to his entire judiciary, that Prime Minister is my friend, and therefore, please keep quiet about any, before taking any decision against the government. What is Prime Minister telling the country? Don't worry, the Chief Justice is my friend, he is master of the roster, and I'm sure at a convenient stage, Chief Justice will, do what is perhaps in my, my favor or my something sympathetic to me. These are messages which will go. I'm not saying it may happen, but you must understand that in the minds of people, it has sent shocking, messages about independence of judiciary. And I think what has happened is unacceptable. Balakrishnan was really not the epitome of some great virtues. But one expected Chief Justice Chandrachud to conduct himself properly. And I must say, I had expressed apprehension about Chief Justice Chandrachud's political aloofness before he became Chief Justice in a public interview. And I think he's proving me to be right. So
well,
I think
let me get in Mahesh Jethmalani to defend the first part. And Mahesh Jethmalani, Dushyant Dave is in knots in a twist. I want to ask you, has the separation of the judiciary and the executive been wiped away? Is KGB, or as he was called, or KG Balakrishnan, not as equal as DY Chandrachud as Chief Justice was meant to be? What, is it a perception issue or is it a reality ethical issue that Dushyant Dave is raising?
Well, the ethical issue is a figment of Dushyant's mind, with great respect to him, and I am proud to be one of those not right-thinking lawyers, because I believe that this is a completely innocuous event. But Dushyant Dave and his ilk are so short of issues to criticize really the Prime Minister and their obvious ire against the present Chief Justice for reasons best known to them. I think he completely underestimates the people of this country. The people of this country do not believe by an innocuous darshan during the course of an Aarti for the most revered deity in Maharashtra. People are going to think that the Prime Minister is a friend. They are only going to think that the Prime Minister is an ardent devotee of the deity before whom Aarti was done. Nothing more than that. Equally, they are not going to think that somehow or the other the Chief Justice of India is currying favor or is beholden to or is passing some message, some kind of imaginative message which Dushyant Dave has unfortunately chosen to cast against him. Now, let me tell you something. This is all very selective outrage. As you pointed out, Dushyant Dave, today he may say that criticize Justice Balakrishna because he's Chief Justice Balakrishna because he's no longer the Chief Justice. It doesn't hurt Dushyant. But in those days, did he raise his voice against Balakrishnan? I dare say he did not. This is selective outrage, and this is typical of them. The motive is actually mischievous. When they attack the judiciary, it is to put the judiciary on the mat and pressurize them. It is also an act of frustration that the various misconceived public litigations before which they bring him, Prashant, Indira Jaising, the various totally misconceived public litigations which they will bring before the courts, and most of them to the Chief Justice's court, are given short shrift as they deserve to be. They are misconceived petitions, they are mischievous, they are political.
That's a huge charge you're making back at Dushyant Dave, that almost as if it's an ecosystem that is criticizing this because they want to pressurize the judiciary. But let me come back to you, Dushyant Dave, and let me ask you this question. Chandrachud, while he was giving all the judgments that were against the government, was fine. He was the poster boy of this so-called liberal ecosystem. Let me count out the judgments that he's given against the government. The Aadhaar project, where he was the dissenting opinion which went the other way. The Bhima Koregaon arrest, the Supreme Court orders on the complete disclosures on the electoral bonds, which were something that the Prime Minister kept extremely close to his heart. The Supreme Court judgment on the Delhi government's powers versus the Lieutenant Governor's power, the Sabrimala case, the right to privacy, the Kerala governor when he was hauled up. All of these went against the Prime Minister and his party. But he's remained your poster boy because he gave judgments against the Prime Minister. But one puja and everything just vaporizes.
Well, he has never been my poster boy, let me tell you bluntly. And if you want to see, you please see my interview with Karan Thapar before he became Chief Justice. So let me bluntly tell you that I have never, although he has been a friend, he is an intellectual giant, but there are some weaknesses in him. One of them is politically, he is inclined towards, as master of the roster, I must tell you, his role has been seriously questionable. He may have given few good judgments, but there have been many judgments that he has given which are highly, favorable to the executive in power or party in power. But be that as it may, what I want to tell you is something, and this is important. On 7th May 1997, the full court of the Supreme Court unanimously accepted the restatement of values of judicial life. Now, that's part of Supreme Court's website. And when the government brought the Judicial Accountability Bill of 2020-22, Judges Accountability Bill, this was actually incorporated in Section 7 of that. It's a different matter. Bill has not seen the light of the day. It says justice must not only be merely be done, but it must be seen to be done. Behavior and conduct of members of higher judiciary must reaffirm people's faith in the impartiality of judiciary. Accordingly, any act of a judge of Supreme Court or High Court, whether in official or in personal capacity, which erodes credibility of this perception, has to be avoided. 2, a judge should practice a degree of aloofness consistent with dignity of his office. And 3, every judge must at all times be conscious that he is under public gaze, and there should be no act or omission by him which is unbecoming of the high office he occupies and public esteem in which that office is held. So we are not talking about his judicial, approach.
But you are. Judgments that go against you are what you are decrying today.
Sorry. You are comparing apples with oranges. Don't do that. We are talking about his personal behavior, his righteousness. This is not right. That's period. Forget judgment. He may have given 10
praying to Lord Ganesha with the Prime Minister on your side during Ganesh Chaturthi upsets the righteousness measurement. Mahesh Jethmalani, please respond.
Sorry, you are mistaken. It's improper. It's a misconduct.
Okay, all right, Dushyant, you had your say. We've seen your view of what is righteous and what is not, right?
No, this is Supreme Court saying so.
Look, Dushyant, I'm not going to ascribe any motive. All right, but I don't think you're right that the judges of the Supreme Court should be very conscious of their conduct in private. But I do not think that this is a serious violation of conduct expected from the judiciary. There is nothing wrong with inviting a Prime Minister or any other dignitary for an Aarti at your house for a deity. You people are just doing this because it's a selective outrage. You are doing this because anything which smacks of Hinduism, you have a red rag. It's a red rag.
I take strong exception.
I'm sorry to say that I disagree with your misconceived sense of righteousness. Your sense of righteousness is topsy-turvy. You deserve to get, in my view, don't ascribe motives to the people of India. What they think about this Aarti, which the Prime Minister of India attended, they're sensible enough to realize that this is merely an occasion where darshan is taken and respects are paid to a deity and nothing more than that.
Absolutely, and on occasions like this, on occasions like a puja, who knows, there may have been a meeting of a committee and, I don't know, you were not there. It must have been an off-the-cuff conversation that हमने Ganesh रखा हुआ है, and PM may have said, अरे हम लोग भी आपको बधाई हो, and he would have said, आप भी दर्शन के लिए आ जाइए. Are we making a mountain out of a molehill? Number one. Number two, the question that I want to ask you is, never, and Mahesh Jethmalani may be right when he says that your outrage is selective. When judgments are given by Chandrachud against the government, everybody is very happy. And I'm talking about a liberal ecosystem. You know what I mean. And I completely believe that it's the ecosystem that sees everything negative in pujas, in the Hindu way of life, in the Prime Minister and in the BJP. I want to ask you, when in the past have you raised a question? You said KG Balakrishnan may not have been the epitome, but nobody has raised a question, a pertinent point made by Mahesh Jethmalani. Why don't you respond to that? No other Chief Justice has had to face what is being done now.
Navika ji, you should do some homework. I must have given at least 100 TV interviews in which I have frontally attacked judges after judges. And so far as Balakrishnan is concerned, I can now state, and I have witnesses to say, that I went to him personally in his chamber and raised serious issues about integrity, saying that your son's partner is, sending a message to the litigants at large that I can manage the court.
You didn't say it publicly.
Listen, there are some things which are not to be said publicly.
Oh,
This is,
but this you are saying publicly.
But I have said many a times in Gogoi's case, 100 interviews, articles, 100.
Yes, all
On
of them
Gogoi's case.
in the BJP era.
When-
Mahesh Jethmalani.
I have publicly written letter against, Mr. Adani, for example, getting Justice
True.
Mishra's
All
court
against the
again and again.
BJP. All against the BJP and the present
It's not
ecosystem in
BJP.
power.
It's not BJP, it's about corruption in judiciary. It has nothing to do with BJP. It's nothing. When Mr. Manmohan Singh was Prime Minister,
All right.
I went on television to say that Manmohan Singh and Ghulam Mahanwati both must be prosecuted in Colgate case. So please don't ascribe BJP or
Mahesh
non-BJP.
Jethmalani, please
I have
respond.
nothing to do with BJP or Congress. I am a lover of Constitution. I am a lover of, and Mahesh knows that. And that's why Mahesh's father loved me. That's why Mahesh's father loved me. And I can assure you, if Mahesh was a judge today, Chief Justice today, he would not have done what Chandrachud has done. Although he is a staunch Hindu.
Mahesh, this is called emotional blackmail. Please respond.
Yeah, he's put me on the defensive by saying nice things about me. But now listen to me.
No, not about you, about your father.
But let me tell you one thing. All right, or my father, both. Yeah, no, he said that even I wouldn't do it at the end. It was there was a little tidbit for me also. But listen,
You wouldn't do it. I know you too well.
all right. Now, Navika, let me just say. Navika, just let me say this. This is not about Mr. Dushyant Dave's fearlessness and him being the modern day Don Quixote against all judges, against Manmohan Singh, against Ghulam Mahanwati. Very good. I mean, everybody has filed public interest litigation on issues and taken on the very highest in power. I respect him for that. I respect him for that. But we are now talking about whether this particular episode regarding the Darshan and the Aarti at the Chief Justice's house by the PM was a matter of such great lack of rectitude that these people had to go to town about it. I say no, it's completely disproportionate. In my view, it is an innocuous instance completely. But Dushyant and his ilk are choosing to make it disproportionately a matter of disproportionate impropriety because of other motives. I ascribe wrong motives to them, and I think in doing so, they are both underestimating the people of this country and the perception of that